Yo, welcome back to the Winner's Paradigm podcast. We're here for another week. Excuse me, man, I got these hiccups that I just cannot shake. I took some GERD medicine before I worked out, after I worked out, and it's still kicking my ass. So bear with me here today. But today we're going to be talking about how to control your energy slash your power. Why does this work for your podcast? The reason why is because you're going to have to channel that energy. More importantly, figure out how you're going to be able to disseminate that, especially with all the social media going on, with trying to be the best that you can be, with all the things that are going on in life. It's going to require you to level up and be the best that you can be. And the only way that you can do that is if you're cognizant of your energy, of your power, and you understand exactly what you have to do. So in this case, what you're going to have to do is figure out what works for you. So this is going to be a very short episode. I think it could be honestly 5-10 minutes, but that's what it's going to be sometimes is me to come in here with a quick banger, get you guys motivated, moving forward, quick actionable steps so you can be able to apply this to your life, recalibrate your mindset, and then deliver that award game changing message to your clients, to whoever you're looking for. In this case, for me, I help men, who got on their knees. They pray to God that they need things to change. They needed to be better, and they made those changes for themselves. So the 5 steps we're going to be covering is credibility, audience engagement, clarity in your message, emotional impact, and then always keeping your professionalism. So for the building credibility, the more that you come and you show exactly the energy you bring, the energy that you talk about. So with me, I'm a big energy dude. You can hear me, you can see in my mannerisms. I get hyped up. I say some crazy shit sometimes. That's the energy portion. For me, I have to be able to be cognizant of that, but two, understand that that's my power. Understand that that energy is what keeps me going, and it's what differentiates me from most people. It's and this is where, on the credibility field, your energy is what's going to allow you to be able to be notable for the guests. So that's why I always say, like, whenever you have a killer best guest out there, you need to fucking get them to remember you. Say one crazy thing. Hey man, I remember I was looking at your podcast, or I was watching your YouTube videos, and you mentioned one thing, man, that really clicked with me because when I was going through my story, and when I was going through the suck, I just remember hearing this from you and it helped me out. So for me, I met Tim Story, and that's what I told him is my grandfather died, and I was just really going through it in life, not really knowing who I am as a man and how am I gonna gonna be this man that I don't have. So it was something for me, and I told Tim Story that. He was like, "Hey man, hit me up on Instagram. Let's get this podcast set up." And in the works to get him back on. So it was something for me that building that credibility was based off the energy. It was based off the power that I was able to show of who I am, what I do. And you could see that with the way that I carry myself, I talk, and so forth, which is going to go into it. The more that you have this energy, you're able to be charismatic, you're able to be you. It's going to lead into what your audience is going to hear. For me, my audience likes that. My audience likes that I get crazy a little bit. I say things like, you need to shut the fuck up and suck it the fuck up, because sometimes that's what we need as men. And for my audience, that's exactly what they need, is that man who's not going to be always nice to them, who's going to fucking slap them sometimes, figuratively, not physically, and is going to teach them that, hey, man, there's things you need to fucking do, and there's a reason why you're in the position you're in. And that's what a lot of people don't fucking think about. When we think about engaging our audience, we think about whatever, there's so many ways to do it. But I'd say for you, you're going to figure that out for your ideal audience. You're going to figure it out for who you're trying to reach. And for me, originally it was men who were trying to align themselves to their definition of success. It's still that same principle, but the difference is it's the man who's trying harder because he got on his knees and he prayed to God that shit needed to change. He needed to get better. There's work that needs to be done. So that's why that man has a different mission, different motive. And that's why he works his ass off and does things a little bit differently than he did before, because he needs to be able to do that. And that's where that clarity comes in, is when you figure out who you're speaking to, you figure out who you are, you figure out what you're bringing to the table, you figure out how you're going to be able to be that best that you can be. That's where your clarity comes into. And for me, my wife just had 3 brain surgeries, right? And it was something for me that brought me clarity, was understanding that things aren't going to be okay, understanding that things may change for the time being, understanding that I may not be able to go to the gym at 3 in the morning like I want to. I literally went at fucking 11:30, got home a little over 1, and I did shoulders and legs tonight. because that's what was called to do. So for you, when you have that clarity, that's where you got to deliver that into your message. And a lot of times when we're starting the podcast, we're helping out other men, we don't have that because we haven't had that self-awareness, or maybe we're going through the suck, maybe we're going through our emotions. So you figure out what it is for you. One of the things I do is I make live videos whenever I'm in the sauna. Why? Because I have mental clarity there. It's going to allow me to think, to sweat it out, to push myself. So I'm going to be able to think clearly, have that cognizant mindset, and understand that, hey, anything I'm saying is going to be there. So the clarity in the message is key because you need to be able to deliver it simple and effective to your audience. Something I used to struggle with sometimes, that if I don't pay attention to make it simple and complete, then it could be something that I'm missing out on. So you always want to have that clear message. And that's where that emotional impact comes in. Is we already talked about it, is breaking bread, finding that one thing. But the more vulnerable we are, it allows that. And that was actually something this week I talked to my therapist about. Was I do a good job at giving people the opportunity to be vulnerable with me, and that's why I can connect with them. That actually helped me out with the problem that I was having. If you looked at my stories, I was talking about bitch ass men, men who I feel just aren't it. And again, we go back to the beginning. I'm big on energy. So I can pick up when somebody's bullshitting, when they're giving excuses, when they're not being that best man that they can be. And you know what, it pisses me off because that's something that I used to do. Like I said, I was a mama's boy. I wanted to just be a mama's boy, but the world made me not be that. My parents were like, stop fucking bitch. And I had to be able to change for me. So for me, I get irritated with those men because I know how it feels not to be fulfilled. I know how it feels for a woman not to respect you. I know how it feels to be going through the motions. I know how it feels to always feel like you're never going to be good enough, or that you're always limiting yourself between what you can have, what you can do. And then when you start doing better for yourself, you're a little shocked because you're like, man, am I worth this? Did I really do this? Bro, you're fucking worth it. Stop fucking thinking that. Execute, execute. That's where you hit the emotional aspect. You need to be able to talk to people on that level. And for me, I can do that. I can talk about being picked on. I can talk about fighting at a age. I can talk about not having that communication. I can talk about the fucked up shit like now where we're about to have a birthday party for my daughter and my parents are nowhere to be found. I don't even talk to my family. Why? Because they never reach out to me. So I can hit that emotional trigger and that impact with people because I'm able to talk from a place where I'm coming from, what I've been through. And that's where you can be able to connect that to people. It's always find that one thing that somebody's going to be able to relate to, or just talk about your story. The more vulnerable you are, it leaves that floor open to other people. And that's where that professionalism comes in. Again, you want to, your demeanor, you want to talk about being the best that you can be. It's that. One of the things I wanted to do was with my first mentor, my business partner, he added his business partner and exploited him online, and they were going at it and talking about whatever, and we had a fallout after that. And one of the things I wanted to do, was at this dude and talk a bunch of shit. And I realized I'm no longer better than this man because he does the same exact thing to his mentor. So I realized for me that professionalism, tact, that is something learned in the Marine Corps. That is something that is part of my character, part of my human being, part of my element, part of something that I do and what I'm proud of, and the way to take care of myself. And that's what you figure out is what is professionalism for you and how do you carry yourself. So one quick story, real quick, was when I was in the Marine Corps, there was a sergeant and I should have got promoted. But again, I was injured, so I was waiting uh, to be able to get my reenlistment in, and then I would have been able to get it. But in reality, I was injured, so I had to do another extension. Been at 5 years, a 3-year corporal, and then would be eligible once that package came in to get sergeant. Right, so I was most senior corporal um, for the S shops, as we call them, just the service shops of what you need to get done. And this corporal had the audacity to fucking say that she didn't know anybody else was competent to be able to do a field day, which is cleaning the whole entire squadron, right? The upper deck. So she decided in front of all the other higher ups to say that there was no one that was competent to be able to do so. So for this is where professionalism came in. I came in, good thing is my leader was right there. She was actually cool this one time. And we sat the sergeant down, let her know that, hey, that wasn't something cool. And I pulled the sergeant aside and I said, hey, sergeant, I don't respect you for what you said because that makes me look bad. If you just even look at me, you can tell by my demeanor, by the way that I carry myself, that I run shit and I'm the one who does that shit around here. So for you to come in here not knowing what the fuck it is and think, because, oh, you came from Japan, Japan was a certain way, that you can come in here and start fucking my shit up and start butchering my name is going to be a problem. So we're going to need to address this. We're going to move forward, and this will not happen again because around here, I'm the one who's in charge and people come to me for answers. So if you would like something of that and you would like to be cordial and have a time when you interact with me, because you're going to be doing that a lot, because again, I dealt with all the operations flying in the unit. And I was the one that they came to for training for lanes, PFTs, CFTs doing their annual test, right? So I'm the one who can legitimately fuck your day up if I really want to, not count your push-ups, not count your pull-ups. Oh, fucking, I seen you cut a corner on your run. I'm gonna make you do that shit again. So many things you can be able to do, right? So this is where professionalism came in, and I let her know you need to act better, treat me with fairness, dignity, respect that I deserve, and I will do that with you as well. Relationship was better. Cool, girl was cool with me after that. No problems. That's where professional comes into a play. Is the more that you're able to show who the fuck you are, how you're able to do it, and this is why discipline is a huge factor, because the more disciplined you are, people can pick that shit up and you're able to be consistent and show exactly what you do. And that's one of the things with your podcast is the more consistent you are, the more you're able to have that credibility, you're engaging with that audience, you're talking about these things that are tough, you're clarifying in your message, you're giving that emotional support to give an impact, giving professionalism. You build it all up to yourself. And the reason why I wanted to have this podcast episode was just to talk to that man, who may be struggling with those things, that maybe feel like, man, I don't know how to do it. Maybe I'm trying to preach this, I'm trying to do all these things, and it's just not clicking for me. And for you, if you need to figure out, go back to the drawing board, figure out what's important to you, figure out how to dress and how to speak to that person and show the fuck up. For me, it's just being both. Like I said, I had to open up and talk to that man who was on his knees crying to God, because I did the same thing. And that's where I was able to click. And I was finally able to hit people on that emotional level, was understanding that it no longer was talking about me as a young boy, but I was talking about that the generational trauma, all the things that I've seen affected me. And that's why I was making bad decisions as an adult. And you know what? I take responsibility for those actions. And that is why I work every single day at being better as a man, as a husband, as a father, because I understand these things that if you do not heal, they will fuck you up in one way or another. They will seep into other places in your life. And that's what people don't understand. So for you, if you're having problems with your energy and figuring out how to be able to use that power to your benefit, look at your credibility, look at audience engagement, look at your clarity in your message, look at the emotional impact you have and how you're able to be professional within your work. And if you can be able to check off all 5 of those things, you're going to be able to display that in your podcast and help other people become the best that they can be, because they're going to see you as an influencer, as that go-to, and be like, man, this dude has it fucking all locked in. So if you feel that, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating, drop that on there. Let us know how this podcast helped you. Go ahead and subscribe. And that way we can keep up with anything new that's coming on in the winner's paradigm. You guys can be able to learn how to be able to recalibrate your mindset, and then how to be able to transform other people's businesses and lives by sharing your story with your podcast.